Welcome back to Smart City Kuala Lumpur 2025. We're here on Friday, the third day of a very exciting conference. We've had so many people here. The last 3 days, we had Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. It's been really crowded and so many different interesting exhibitions. Thank you so much, Dr. Angbu. Welcome. Thanks for joining us in this conversation around smart cities. How are you liking your trip so far in Kuala Lumpur?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Prem, for having me here. And this conference in Kuala Lumpur. It is the first time the Smart City Expo is happening outside Europe, and it is very exciting. And it has plenty of knowledge and experience that has been shared the past 3 days. Today we have a very good panel about digital twins and the deep sustainability.
Right. That's fantastic. Yeah, you brought up the topic of digital twins and deep sustainability. We've had lots of discussion today, but the first time we're hearing this term, deep sustainability. Can you elaborate? What does deep sustainability mean?
The deep sustainability is how we can bring these cities currently not livable, most of the cities into a livable cities. That has the 3 components. One is the economic, and that is the cities need to be invigorated to be a gravity center for the economic growth. Second is current cities are not livable cities in the sense of environmental standards. So particularly, for example, carbon emissions and the pollutions and the garbage issues. This is the environmental dimensions of the sustainability. Third one is about the social, and this is about most of the cities. It always exists a divide and between the upper rich, ultra rich, and the very low income families. That is, the social divide is happening when the cities grow. When we say the deep sustainability is how that is emissions and pollutions could be decoupled from the city's growth, and how it can bring the social inclusion within it. That is how we define the deep sustainability. In this part, how this digital twins, which is a kind of replica of a physical system.
Right.
How that digital twin could be used as a new planning tool to achieve this deep sustainability objectives. That is how these new narratives for the sustainable development or the smart cities comes in.
Great. So the idea of a digital twin is actually like a technology or digital representation of a city. Let's say Kuala Lumpur, or let's say Chennai or something. And are you then suggesting that we could use certain policies or to better understand the city using the digital twin? How does a digital twin help in this journey towards deep sustainability?
If you look into this, most of the cities in Asia or the ASEAN, and like KL is another example, or Penang or Johor Bahru, and these cities are growing, and it will be continuing to grow. And but if you look into the technology, on another side, the technology is also growing. These cities and technologies, and they are not static. It is a very dynamic. So the thing here is this technology window and need to be matched by the financial window, and that is bringing the technologies, make these technologies affordable and accessible to the people. Right. To bring this sustainability outcome. And here that is where the nexus comes in, or where the policy interventions are needed. Right. And most of the cities, if you look into it, and most of the cities, they don't have the financial capacity and capability, and also the capacity and capability to absorb the right technologies. And this is where the policies comes. That is a national policy framework. And second thing is that is the people-centric, the technologies that is used and usable by the people. That is where they could not able to bring the sustainability outcomes before.
Can you give us an example of a digital twin and how this works?
For example, and if you look into it, case of Jakarta. and Jakarta, they used this sensor technologies for the transport planning.
Yeah.
And where the sensors are built, and they have been building a sensor network about these different parts of this Jakarta city, and this sensors develop a real-time data, and this data is used into a digital twin model, and this digital twin model has been centrally controlled, and they control this traffic system, particularly this private car transport, and as well as this mass rapid transport systems. They basically optimize. This
But it's still full of traffic jams, right? Even with this.
Yeah, that is where it comes, and that is the uncontrolled traffic. But it gives a kind of a portal. But it's one part of this Jakarta city is developed with a digital twin, and this is also basically modeled after the Singapore, and so this is one part of the city is model, and it has been controlled, but here that is the application, it needs to be scaled up. That is where that is the policy interventions comes in, and where that is the financial and the investment decisions also coming in.
So you're saying that the digital twin can be helpful in terms of understanding the city and better planning for the city, and improving the outcome for the city, right? In terms of your work with ERIA and international platforms like the G20, the APAC, what are you seeing as some promising examples in terms of improving climate resilience and resource efficiency?
If you look into that is the ASEAN Smart City Network, and that was established in 2017. It is the network of 26 cities together, and all these things are looking for a kind of a common and making it as a livable cities. But the smart city agenda is evolving as a kind of a bringing the efficiency and innovative solutions to address this livability conditions. On the other hand, there is a sustainable SDGs agenda, and is evolving. I think we have another 5 years to left to meet these sustainable development goals. What ASEAN is doing is how this ASEAN Smart City Network could be used as a platform for upscaling at the national level, meeting this SDGs. So actually it is a start, kind of a basic catalytic for bringing the solutions at the city level, then upscaling to the national level. And for example, the G20 also, there is an Urban 20 program, and where there is they are developing the standards for the smart cities, and as well as the kind of a framework conditions for the investment that comes with these standards, and all these standards are targeted for meeting the sustainable development goals.
Right. So in creating a digital city, you mentioned, for example, in the use of sensors in Indonesia. But what really goes into creating a digital city? Is it an expensive technology? Is it a set of technologies? Is it about data and how the data is integrated? What does digital cities mean in actually implementing such an idea?
So this digital cities or the smart cities has a purpose, and the purpose is how you can bring that is a service delivery, and it could be the service delivery in the names of energy, providing the clean energy, or it could be a providing the intelligent transport systems, or it could be a providing a better water services at a low cost, or it could be a kind of a zero emission city, that is where there is no garbage. And what this digital twins is, how this service delivery could be made at a lesser cost, efficiency. The challenge here is what's happening in the previous regime, that is what we are living in the business as well. We are providing the services at a higher cost. So here the digital twins basically, which is built upon this data, it's all built upon the data, and then we have an interface. There is a new data sources. The data sources are analyzed, to bring a kind of making an intelligent decisions.
Right.
The data aggregation is happening.
Right. So data aggregation is really important.
Yeah, that is where the digital twin comes in.
Right.
But most important thing is the outcome. Whether we are making that is intelligent decisions, intelligence that is before that is this digital twins comes in.
Right. So the data sourcing the data aggregation is really important. And normally in a typical city, there are so many different custodians of data. Right? How do you actually bring this data together? When are you talking about new political structures, or what's the mechanism to actually bring this data together in a typical city?
That is where I think most of innovations need to happen. And see, for example, and we worked with the Johor Bahru, and the Johor Bahru is a kind of city within the cities, and each city has, for example, Department of Energy, or the Department of Water, and Department of Solid Waste Management, and they work in very much in the silos.
Yeah.
So they don't share the data.
Exactly.
And here that is where the smartness and that is comes in. And if you create a platform, kind of one Johor Bahru. One Johor Bahru means you create a platform where all the data are kind of a common good,
right.
Common public good. And then it could be shared, and then you can make a kind of intelligent decision with an objective outcomes. For example, reducing the carbon emissions.
Yeah.
Then it need to have kind of actions in the transport sector, and it need actions in the energy, and actions in the wastewater treatment also.
Yeah.
There is where, and there are examples. For example, the first city in this world is New York, and they created that barriers by creating a one data platform that could be accessed by the each department. And they can work at the department level and as well as the city level, that feed into kind of it will also create a kind of a signals for developing a replica of the real systems. Then you can also offer, that is where that investments are needed. So this is where that is Tokyo is also performing. Once Shibuya as a small town within the Tokyo city, they created a replica. And they have developed what could be that investment values or the asset that can invest on it for improving the efficiency.
Yeah. You mentioned in your earlier comments around deep sustainability, the need to basically, not just bring in technology and data, but also to address inequalities, making sure it's inclusive. We see a lot of technology being applied, but often cities don't become more inclusive. Often cities do end up ignoring their poor, they are in a way scapegoated. How do you tackle that problem in a serious way? What's the political motivation for a city to be really inclusive?
Because here the city we always see, and maybe it could be a kind of, each city has its own DNA, and if you see the city and each city has its own DNA that replicate in their emergence or the urban sprawl, and how we can see it. But here we see is that the cities are not a simple technological center, and it is not simply technology is a tool. But what is the more important is that what for the technology is used. That is where that is ERIA bringing that people centric or the people centric smart cities, where that is the decision of cities are made by the citizens.
But we don't see that happening. In many cities I go to, I still see these divides, despite policies being in place. We don't see it actually touching the hearts of these people. So do you see there's a gap between the idea and the policy and the realities?
Yes, gaps exist, and because of that bureaucratic structure and the institutional fabric, that is where here it is ruled and people being the ruled, and but here that is where that is a digital. And I had been visited to Mandalay city, the mayor, and he made a decision to use the digital technologies and how the transparency happened. And for example, if it is any city is a kind of a bureaucratic is inbuilt, and for example in the Mandalay, the governor has made a decision to use this digital platform. So he created a kind of it may not be very highly sophisticated digital twin like a Singapore or New York or the Sibia, but it is a simple tool. He created a platform where there is even that there is a small citizen of a city can make a complaint, then it is a very transparent, and there is a space, and it is a very transparent, and he has a kind of a 3 days of window. That is where particularly that is a city administration to respond to that complaint.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And he made it in his own limited capacity, but it brings the digital twins or the application of the digital technology bring the transparency.
Transparency.
And this inclusivity ham. Otherwise, this citizen, ordinary citizen, will in the remote corner of that city. We need to go to that is a kind of city's office. Need to have this kind of bureaucratic burdles, and it is not open.
Not definitely.
And we don't know that is when the complaint is received and when it will be addressed, and it is here that is digital brings that governor, and this is also where what's happening in Jakarta, where it's a smart city, smart cooperation.
Yeah, yeah. I think your insight is really valuable. I think you've illustrated the usefulness of having a digital twin. It brings transparency, encourages accountability. It helps even the bureaucracy to address and actually find the areas that need to be addressed. So perhaps a digital twin can actually reduce the gap between the realities and the vision and the ambition that we want of cities. So we're kind of wrapping up today. But thanks so much, Dr. Ambu, for your very interesting input. Good luck with your work with East Asia, with APAC, with G20, and I hope that your advocacy for digital cities work, and that we get better cities over time. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Prem.
Thanks for everything.